Good evening, everybody. The time is 7 p.m., so we can't get started. Hi, thank you for being here. Today is Thursday, April 10th, 2025. This is the village board meeting for the village of Willow Springs, and this meeting is called to order. Madam Clerk Charles, can we please call the roll?
Trustee R.
Here.
Kennedy.
Here.
Micah.
Here.
Pash.
Here.
Sprinkle.
Here.
Carr.
Here.
President Nedemeyer.
Present, thank you. That completes the roll. We have a quorum. Let's please rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Everybody, thank you for being here. Your attendance tonight is appreciated. I want to begin our meeting before we get into the business of the meeting to let those know who aren't already aware of the passing of Larry Greenberg. He passed away last month. He was a beloved member of our Planning and Zoning Board, serving under 3 administrations actually, so for quite some time. And just before attending the most recent meeting back in February, he had said we learned that he had never missed a single meeting in all those years. He was extremely dedicated and kind and just very much, loved by all of us who don't miss him. So with that, I'd like to please take a moment of silence and honor Larry Greenberg. Okay, thank you. Our prayers are with Larry and his family, and we hope that he is resting peacefully in heaven with his beloved wife. We will move into the business now. We'll begin with disposition of previous minutes. Our board pack, we have March 13, 2025 minutes. May I have a motion to approve those?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Trustee Kennedy.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Trustee Meiker, for the second. Any discussion or questions from the board on the minutes? Hearing none, roll call vote, please, Clerk Charles.
Trustee R.
Aye.
Kennedy.
Aye.
Micah.
Aye.
Pash.
Aye.
Sprinkle.
Aye.
Carr.
Aye.
All ayes and those are approved. Thank you. Village Administrator report. Administrator Grace.
Thank you, Mayor. Just quickly tonight, an update on the Gilmar building for everyone. I was able to have ComEd reestablish power to the building. There's ironically 6 different separate services to that building for each of the different office suites that were once in there. So we figured it out. It's all functioning. We tested the elevator, things like that. It all works, which is good news. There was an engineer that was out this week who did a survey of the building, so I'm looking forward to seeing their typed up report of it. And then I'm working with an appraisal company to provide me an appraisal of its new zones usage so that we had that to compare and discuss here, hopefully at next month's meeting, but we'll see when they get it done. I requested the more than one turnaround appraisal. So that is my report.
Okay, thank you for keeping us updated on that, Administrator Grace. Appreciate it. Village Clerk report. Clerk Charles.
Thank you. Just a reminder, the Easter egg hunt is this Saturday. It's going to be at Lions Park at 10 o'clock and at Willow Park at 11 o'clock. And then also the food pantry is coming up this Tuesday at the community center. It's going to start at 3:30 till 5:30. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Clerk Charles. Looking forward to that event. It's always a good time every year. We will move now to reports of officials. Village Engineer Grant said there's some things going on.
Yes, there is just a small construction project that started out on the town center project. We've completed the sewer televising and smoke testing of the existing sewers, and no problems were encountered. We're currently in the concrete construction replacement portion of the project, so we're replacing the curbs on some of the sidewalks along the buildings. That's expected to take about 2 weeks. And then on about the 21st of April, we're expected to go into phase 1 on Market Street. We'll close that section down for excavation and begin installation of the permeable pavers.
Thank you for that timeline, and thank you to the residents for their patience. We know construction is a lot, but we are trying our best to keep you informed, and we appreciate your patience through it, and I'm confident that the end result is going to be absolutely fantastic and a really nice improvement. Thank you. Next, Village Attorney, Erica.
There is no legal report this evening, Madam Mayor.
Thanks, Village Treasurer.
2 points to the board. Number one, we are in the midst of our 2023 audit, and we hope to be completed by the end of May, if not earlier. And these guys are really tearing it along, so since they audit pace, they're going to audit us as well as the other people. Secondly, we had put together the first 3 months of our financial information, and the good news is we're working we're on budget. In fact, we're above sales taxes and property taxes, and so knock on wood, everything continues to go very well. That's it.
Fantastic. Thank you, Treasurer Dennis. Moving into reports of standing committees. First, we have Finance and Administration. Trustee Yara.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to make a motion to approve item 7A1, warrant number 25-0-04, dated April 10th, 2025. Payroll and fund expenses totaling $497,941.82.
Okay, thank you. That's the motion on the warrant. Second.
I'll second.
By Trustee Kennedy. Thank you for that. Discussion or questions?
Just a typical update, about 37% of the warrant is payroll for 4 weeks, 2 pay periods. The routine garbage and health and life insurance, which are all budgeted, and other than this one, we had the public works, the new truck and the upfit, which accounted for a little over $50,000 of it. So those are the big dollar items that we had in this warrant.
Okay. Any more discussion on the warrants? Clerk Charles, vote please.
Trustee Yara.
Aye.
Kennedy.
Aye.
Micah.
Aye.
Posh.
Aye.
Sprinkle.
Aye.
Carl.
All ayes and those are approved.
That concludes my report.
Thank you, Trustee Yara. Next, we will move into Public Safety Committee. Trustee Kennedy.
Thank you, Madam President. I have no report, but I know the chief has a couple things he wants to say.
Just 2 things very quickly. We've scheduled another corporal's test, and I have to say that 2 years ago we didn't even have that right. So I'm very happy that we're already moving forward on the second time. Corporal Matt Engel is right there. You can tell how happy he is that he made corporal and he works overnights now. But I also, the second thing is next to him is Cody Griffin, our new hire as a full-time officer. Cody's a little shy. You don't have to say anything, Cody. Just say hello. Say hey. He's working out very well. He tells me he's happy. I don't know if he'll lie to me. And we seem to be very happy with his performance so far. So I'm very happy about that. That's all I got.
Great. Thanks, Chief. Thank you.
That concludes my report.
All right, great, Trustee Kennedy. Thank you. Municipal Buildings and Grounds Committee, Trustee Micah.
Thank you, Madam President. I have one very important thing to talk about is April 27th. I don't know, don't get too excited. The Lions are having their famous pork chop dinner, so everybody has to show up. It starts at noon. It goes till, I believe, 5. So hope to see everybody there. And that concludes my report.
That is a good report. Thank you. That's
Thank
a great event. All right, Public Works Committee, Trustee Posh.
Thank you, Madam President. Just real short, that as Tom mentioned, the new truck did come in. It's already outfitted, striped, lit, plows on. That came just in time, so we don't have any more. We put everything away. The guys have been working in the shop, getting all the landscaping equipment ready to go. Looks like we're going to be doing that. They started cleaning up the town already as far as some branch piles and maybe random leaf piles. And you'll see them out there, so give them away. And I do have a report from the Beautification Commission that Legacy Park still has some garden boxes available for the Avenue Gardener plant. And on April 15th, the garden boxes will be available for residents to reserve a second box. And we we also will then make it available for non-residents to rent. Any planting will not start until May 1st. Saturday, May 3rd will be the kitchen scrap gardening. I think I got that right. Yes, event at the Garden Park from 10 to noon. Fun for all ages. Garden Park cleanup is Saturday, April 26th from 9 to noon. And the annual shredding event will be on Saturday, May 10th from 9 to noon. We usually have it here next to Village Hall in the Metro Lot, but with what's going on, we're trying to find out if we can move that. That will be at the community center, so that will be on the digital board, and keep an eye out for that. And that's all I have. No report.
Thanks, Trustee Tosh, for your information. Appreciate that. We will move to License and Franchise Committee. Trustee Sprinkle.
Thank you, Madam President. I have one business license application, Fracture Incorporated, located at 8695 South Archer Avenue, Unit 10. Their operations of business is a multimedia production video studio. Their hours are 10 a.m. to 11 p.m., 7 days a week. Their insurance is up to date, and I approve this license, and that concludes my report.
Thank you, Trustee Sprinkle, and we will get to Fracture's application here just in our action items shortly. Appreciate that report. Thank you. Finally, Building and Zoning Committee, Trustee Carr.
Thank you, Mayor. We're keeping Bruce busy. It was a busy month in March. We issued out 19 permits. Construction cost was $459,279. That came to $13,800 in permit costs received. And for the first quarter of the year, we have 40 permits out, $858,217 of construction value, resulting in permit fees for the first quarter of $21,964. And that's all I have this evening.
Very good. Thanks, Trustee Carr. Yep, starting to get more busy here with the change in the weather. Okay, that completes the reports of standing committees. We will move into action items. First, we have consideration to approve the business license application for Fracture Inc. located at 8695 Archer, Unit 10. And I believe we have a representative of the business here. Hi, thank you for being here. Would you mind stepping forward and maybe introducing yourself and telling us just a little bit about yourself?
Hello, my name is Armando Torres. I own Fracture Inc. Apologies in advance, this is my first time addressing the government body, so I'm a little nervous. Yes, Fracture is a music production studio. It's mainly a producer duo. We work with high-profile clients out in Los Angeles and around the country, producing bands from the ground up, from songwriting to mixing and mastering and Dolby Atmos production. And we're hoping to join the business community here in Willow Springs at Unit 10 and build out our studio there. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that background. May I have a motion to approve the application?
I'll make a motion.
We have the motion by Trustee Sprinkle and the second by Trustee Nell. Any Trustee Carr, is there any questions or discussion from you?
I just have a question. You were, it's my understanding, you had an office here once before?
I did, yes. Okay. It was a few units down.
Okay, but you were in the community before?
I was, yeah. For coming, yes.
And then it sounds like you moved away and came back because you enjoyed it so much.
No, it wasn't. No. That's because my job at the time changed. I was on tour with a few different bands, and I wasn't able to maintain a physical presence in Chicago for some time.
Okay.
So I had to move. Yes.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I got a question. Could you kind of clarify the hours of operation? Does it also says by appointment only? Is that the hours that you will take appointments?
Yes. Usually we don't really have clients coming in who we work remotely, but those are our personal hours because we want to get home before midnight for sure.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it is by appointment only.
I'd just like to confirm one more thing. Trustee Sprinkle, you said you recommended?
Yes, I approve.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
roll call vote, please.
Trustee Ara?
Aye.
Kennedy?
Aye.
Micah?
Aye.
Pash?
Aye.
Sprinkle?
Aye.
Carr?
All ayes, that license is approved. Welcome back to Willow Springs.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
And I'll contact you tomorrow.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Mhm.
Okay, moving on to our next action item, number 2 and number 3 actually kind of go together and are related. And so I'll give a background. Applicant is Three Kings, and they are looking to change from their B1 class liquor license to a Class A liquor license. Three Kings has been operating in town for just under a year and has positively contributed to our local business community. As liquor commissioner, I have reviewed the application and recommend approving their switch to a Class A license. For background, the key difference between a Class A and a B1 would be that the Class A would permit consumption of liquor on premises and therefore allow for video gaming with the appropriate state licensing. The business owner, I believe, is also present here. If you don't mind stepping up and telling us if I've left anything out or give any additional information. Thank you for being here, Justin. And Jacqueline. Thank you, Madam President.
Good evening, all. My name is Justin. I own this Three Kings Gas Inc., the Cisco gas station. So we request to get that the Class A certificate for the liquor license, to get the gaming license for that. Last year we got that. I leased the property actually, and we got the regular license like the Class B. And after 6 months of time, we run it, and it's pretty good with this neighborhood actually. So we are trying to get the Class A for that gaming.
Thank you. So as a first step, this is ordinance 2025-0-12. I will ask for a motion to approve that ordinance. It would be increasing the Class A's by 1 and decreasing the Class B1 to 0. May I have that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Trustee Ara, second by Trustee Micah. Now discussion or questions on the ordinance? Hearing none, roll call vote please.
Trustee Ara?
Aye.
Kennedy?
Aye.
Micah?
Aye.
Pash?
Aye.
Sprinkle?
Aye.
Carr?
All ayes, and that ordinance is approved. So then what we'll do is move into number 3, and that's consideration to now approve the Class A to be assigned to Three Kings located at 8700 Arthur. Okay, thanks. May I have that motion?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Trustee Kennedy, second by Trustee Micah. Discussion or questions?
I just have a question regarding business hours. So your current business hours are what?
6 to 11.
6 to 11. And I know that this license allows you to be, from 7 to, I think, 2 in the morning, 2 again. Are you changing your hours at all?
No, we're going to keep the same time.
And it's also my understanding that the video gaming is going to be located in a very similar spot as the previous owner, so that's the layout.
Yes, same.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
No, I would just like to make a comment that I've been with Justin before, his employee over there, and they're always very good about taking care of things when need taken care of, very conscientious about keeping the property. So, keep an eye on it. Thank you.
Anything else from the board? Okay, let's do a roll call vote, please.
Trustee Ara?
Aye.
Kennedy?
Aye.
Micah?
Aye.
Pash?
Aye.
Sprinkle?
Aye.
Carr?
Aye.
All ayes, and that's approved. Thank you.
Justin? Thank you.
If you can reach out to the village hall tomorrow, we'll get your license straightened out for you, okay? Thank you.
Okay, next we'll move into our final action item. This is ordinance 2025-0-11. This is an ordinance adopting the updated Village of Willow Springs personnel policy manual. So at our last meeting, after reviewing our policy and making revisions and drafting that, we circulated a draft version to the board. It's gone through several months of review and revisions. Many of the changes I can say that are presented now here in this final version for consideration are matters of housekeeping. One of the major changes was related to sick leave policy, which has been modified to ensure that employees have adequate protection in case of illness, and for being competitive with what our neighboring communities are doing in terms of their practices in that area. With that, may I have a motion to approve the ordinance before us?
So moved.
I'll second.
We have the motion by trustee R and the second by trustee Kennedy. Discussion.
Yes, I want to say a few things about this. My oversight is admin, so I really took this personal as something to really look into and look at all the details. So this personal policy manual, I really think that it honors the commitment of the village, the employees. It also ensures we conform to state and federal employment laws, and it needs to be accurate to minimize conflicts. It's much like a contract with our employees, even though it's not a union-type contract. And we also want to be competitive with people in the same arena of work. So I really took this pretty wholeheartedly and looked at all the details. With that all being said, I know I spent some time with the village president on some of these issues. One of the things that I think we need to correct, because I've spoken to our council about this, is the document that's in front of us, and we talked about this before, and there is the fact that it, on 3.4 related to overtime, this document doesn't have an updated resolution from 2022 R-1 related to overtime, which was approved in January 27th of 2022. You need to add that into this document before we finalize all this. There's something that we approved related to part-time overtime for call-outs, and it's not in this document, so we need to add it in. That's one thing that I just want to make sure we get that in there so it gets updated. I think some of the things that are important here to understand is, the sick leave portion of this puts us closer to some of our other neighboring towns, because we've increased that from 160 hours as a maximum up to 240. So I think that's an enhancement and a benefit to the employees. So I appreciate the fact that village president and the village administrator took the lead.
Trustee R, can I 1 second? I'm sorry to interrupt you. I see some gasps out there. That is a total accumulation number. It's not a yearly.
Yeah,
there's no addition. I see all these gasps, and I'm like, whoa, we just
thank you for correcting me.
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Thank you for correcting me.
All right.
So,
I wish.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that.
Thank you. And then the other thing is, I wanted to clarify, because it's not in the document currently, under 4-16 for voting, that is really by law. All that exists in there is unpaid time off. And that was the one section that didn't say whether it was paid or unpaid. I want to make sure that we're consistent with identifying that.
Can I jump in here, Tom?
Sure.
So what you're referring to is Chapter 10 of the Illinois Compiled Statutes, Article 5, Section 17-15, and it is related to voting, and it is the portion of the code that requires that we give that time. Now, I did look into that, and I do believe that is actually work time, which is paid time. But either way, we will absolutely mirror what the state requires, and
Right.
we can even add that citation.
Right, and I appreciate it, and by referencing the state law statute really helps in identifying any questions in the future. So I know I had to do a lot of research, and I know you did as well, so I appreciate that. One of the things that I did want to speak about, and I gave it to all the trustees here, under 3.3 meal breaks, there was a change there related to clerical, which was different. And what I did some research on is the fact that some of the stuff that I read really was around meal and rest breaks. And it talks about, the state statute talks about meal breaks as something that needs to happen after the first 5 hours if you're working more than 7.5 hours in a shift. And it states about a half an hour unpaid time, which is a lot of what we do. But I want to differentiate here as applied to rest breaks, because there is a difference, and the law kind of looks at it from what I've read, that rest breaks are paid time, and I wanted these to be at the discretion of the department heads. So what I put in front of you, I'll just read. Those employees working full workday shall be entitled to an unpaid meal break within the first 5 hours of their work shift. Meal breaks are to be scheduled by the department head to assure minimal disruption of coverage and department work activities. Meal breaks shall not exceed 1/2 hour, which is kind of what's in there already. Employee rest breaks are paid short rest periods that are not, should not exceed 15 minutes and are scheduled by department head to minimize work disruption. The other thing about this is that, talking to the village administrator, is that there are portions of our part-time police officers that fall, we kind of use the union contract as a guideline, yet as part-time police officers, they fall under this policy, some of these policies. So I also offered up part of the union contract of, understanding how we work 12-hour shifts and what it says for break times and lunch times in there. And then I referenced the meal period piece per the Illinois law and the rest period for information for everybody. But I offer that up as a change to what's in the packet right now. So.
Okay, so Trustee Ara, let me clarify then, you circulated this in front of us. Are you then looking to amend what's before us with this 3.3 alternate proposal that you have here?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so then is that a motion to make the amendment?
Yes.
To what's presented to us in our board tab with respect to section 3.3, which is what is before us on the dais that all that board members have, is that correct?
Yes, I gave a copy, I left a copy to everybody, including yourself and the village administrator, and I think the village clerk as well.
Are you looking to include your other proposed amendments in that motion, or just 3.3?
Okay. Let me make sure that I get all these right. Okay. Thank you for the clarification. 4.16 regarding voting and our discussion and your update. And then the other one was 3.4 overtime to make sure that it includes the resolution from 2022, which is 2022-R-01.
Okay, so those two changes with respect to the site and the overtime are recommended. They're not actually changes, those are added sites. So there's no substantial change there without objection from the board. We can just agree to add those sites into the policy. So your motion then is with respect to an amendment with respect to 3.3.
Yes.
Okay, so
To add that change.
No, to change.
To change our current policy with respect to meal breaks to what's proposed here before us by Trustee Ara as an alternate policy regarding meal and rest breaks for our employees.
I think that we ought to pass it as it is. If you remember a couple years ago, we changed their lunch breaks 2 or 3 times, and now we've changed our hours to compensate for their time. And so they're working longer hours to accommodate their 1 hour lunch break, and they're not getting paid for it. So we've already beat them up twice over the same issue.
I'm going to let administrator.
If I can clarify maybe what we currently do as well, to be then for what is in, not Trustees Ara's amendment, but what's in there today. Let me just explain what we have. So our current clerical staff, which involves 3 full-time staff members here at the village hall, that's what this relates to. They currently, in the manual, you see it says 45 minutes and it's struck in red, and we have it changed to 1 hour. The reason for that is because that's practice. We've been taking an hour, and so we're trying to make the manual match practice. The reason we've been taking the hour is because the front staff members don't step away for a break during the day. We group it together and they take an hour. Other than that, they're at at their workstations and engage with the residents and engage in their duties. So the goal in this was to clean this up just to match practice. Their work shift, as Trustee Kennedy mentioned, we did change, which we've highlighted in this manual other places as well, that we now work 10-hour shifts here at Village Hall. Their schedule, the Village Hall is open 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Their schedule, they're here at about 7:45 and they're here until about 7:15 6, which makes a 10.5-hour day, which accounts for the 30 minutes of an unpaid lunch, and then we account for the paid breaks and allow them to take them off-site as one clump time, because that's the only time they get to leave the hall or get anything else done. So that's just practice. That's what we've been doing. So that was why the proposed tier on 3.3 in the manual was struck from 45 to an hour. It was basically to match and maintain practice that we've been doing for a while now.
What I propose, though, allows the latitude for the department head to do the same thing, but the wording is consistent about the unpaid.
Well, your proposal takes it from, let me make sure I understand it right, because it says meal breaks shall not exceed a half an hour. Our breaks definitely exceed half an hour.
But what I also say is that employee rest breaks are paid short rest periods that shall not exceed 15 minutes and are scheduled by department heads to minimize work disruption. So if you join those are fine. You're going to still be able to do the same thing, but the consistency of the unpaid lunch applies to all village departments. That's all. It allows you to do the same thing. I give it to the department heads to manage that. I don't specifically call out a 1 hour break. Okay, I was just trying to get to some consistency on something that, I remember when I came on the board, there was a lot of confusion of trying to understand why the difference existed. And I worked with the village president on trying to understand it or make something that was applicable. And all I'm trying to do is clarify. This still gives the flexibility of doing exactly what you said, but it gives it to the department heads for their discretion.
The one sentence in your proposal that I will point to or highlight that is a limitation is that it requires that the meal break be taken within the first 5 hours of their work shift. And I know you and I had a discussion that you thought that was state law. I don't believe that is actually state law required.
I reference it right down here at the bottom of the page. The state law is there.
Right. It's not applicable to local governments.
Oh, that I didn't understand, but what I read, that's what the law was when I read it.
When you look at the definition in the state statutes, it does not include the local units of government.
Okay, so if you wanted to strike taken within the first 5 hours, but leave the rest of it, I think that's applicable. It allows the flexibility of the department heads, and it's consistent across the board. That's all I was trying to do.
So what I will do is modify your motion. Your motion is to amend what's in our board pack and present it before us to this alternate proposal, striking the first sentence of your proposal. And that is the motion. I'm going to ask for a second, and then we have discussion and vote on it. Is there a second to Trustee R's motion to amend what's before us with his proposal in front of us? Okay, there being no second, that motion dies. We're back to the original motion of our ordinance with what is presented before us. We have the motion, we have the second. Any further discussion on the ordinance? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Ara?
Abstain.
Kennedy?
Aye.
Micah?
Aye.
Hash?
Aye.
Sprinkle?
Aye.
Carl?
Ayes, and that ordinance is approved. Okay, thank you for that discussion, everyone. That concludes the action items. We'll move into number 9, old business. Is there any old business that the board wishes to entertain?
Through all this, I just want to bring it up, and maybe this is not the appropriate time, but under old business, ordinance 2025-0-03, which was amended on January 9th, the section E. When I was doing all my research, this came up. The section E from that ordinance is not updated in our ordinances online. I don't know if that's just, it seemed like the rest of it was updated, but that last section E was not.
What did that section pertain to?
I don't have it right in front of me right now. All I remember is that it was the last paragraph and it was E, and it was missing a couple things that we approved in the meeting, some of the wording.
I need you to repeat what the actual ordinance was, I didn't catch it.
So it's actually ordinance 2025-0-03. It's village ordinance 4-16-1, payment of minimum hourly wages and paid leave. And section E is missing a couple statements in the words that when I compared the document of the ordinance to the village ordinance, it was missing a couple words in there.
I'll verify that.
Okay, thank you.
2025-0-03.
Yes.
And section E.
In section E, yes.
Okay. Just making sure my note is correct.
Yes.
Thank you.
Got that noted. Any other old business from the board? Any new business the board wishes to entertain? Okay, we'll move into public comment.
Is there anybody on the No.
Nobody signed up for public comment? Okay, and we have no need for executive session, so I will move into the president's report. The first thing from the president's report is to please check out the new village website. The administrator and team worked hard on getting that updated, and it's a clear layout, improved navigation, and it's a great access point for any news and services related to the village. And then if you have any feedback on the website, please share that with us as well. We would appreciate that. As Coach Charles mentioned, the Easter egg hunt is this Saturday. Please join us if you can. To the board members and commission members, a reminder that statements of economic interest are due. Did you mention that, Coach Charles? I'm sorry if I'm
no,
repeating.
you know what? I didn't.
Okay.
The last meeting I did.
Thank you, and I know you sent out notifications
I did send
for the ones
emails
that are
out.
still. So just a reminder on that from me. Please get those filed by May 1st, correct?
May 1st, yes.
Thank you. Okay, congratulations to fellow trustees Ara Kennedy and Micah on their recent re-election at this past election. I speak for all of us when I say we are honored to serve Willow Springs, and we really look forward to it and enjoy being a part of Willow Springs growth and progress. Our next meeting is May 8th. At that meeting, the re-elected board members will take their oath of office, and we'll hold a small celebration afterwards, which everyone is invited to attend, so we hope to see you next month. Until then, happy Easter and stay well. And that is all for the president's report. So I will ask for a motion to adjourn, please.
Oh,
By trustee Posh, second.
second.
By trustee Sprinkle, thank you. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
This meeting is adjourned at 7:38. Thanks, everybody.
Turn off the microphones. Hey, Steve, don't disappear. We're not talking about
We went in there. We didn't vote.